Hi all, and welcome to my Path of Exile 3.24 Complete Heist Guide. Yes, I'm back and I'm at it again. Here in this video, it's quite lengthy video I admit, which is why there's chapters markers down below. We are going to go through all things Heist. Now I will admit that most of this video will be pre-recorded prior to the 3.24 patch notes, so if there's anything I've missed, that's probably the reason why. I will do edits if anything dramatic changes, but most of the basic information I'm hoping should stay the same. But don't let my statement disclaimer put you off. Please watch the video, go through it, or just pick and choose the bits you want to watch, either or. In this video we're going to go through build ideas, not actual builds with path of buildings, because that can change depending on how Heist feels in 3.24 and the demands of whatever is needed at the time. But I will do some build suggestions, etc, etc. We'll go through trinket options, we'll go through strategies, both contracts and blueprints, and we'll also go through the rogues, their gear, different gear requirements depending on how you want to play and all the strategies you want to use. Most of the information in this video is of a personal choice, and it could change depending on how you want to play Heist. Much like mapping, there are so many strategies in Heist, but I will do the ones that most people do, or the ones that seem to be the most profitable. However, please note, if you really want to know how many divines per hour Heist will make you, no one can tell you that. Data collection is completely irrelevant because it can be biased based on RNG. You could run contracts or blueprints all day and not get anything real nice, or you could walk into one blueprint and walk out with the most expensive alt unique, or you'd get an orb, a tailoring orb or something like that people want, or you can work in and get the ideal perfect base that somebody wants for a meta build that's suddenly come up. You can't really match divines per hour in Heist because it is so RNG, much like mapping. If you're interested in Heist, I suggest you run it. If you really like Heist, you already know what you're doing, and most of this video is probably irrelevant to you anyway. So there it goes. That's what's going to be happening in the video, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. Thanks for watching. Section 2 of the guide. Heist during the campaign. Yes or no? The earliest point you can find Heist is in Act 6. This is the second part of the campaign. Act 6, you're back in line Ice Watch. You come off of the boat here. After killing Katava, you jump off the boat, you meet Sin. You got two choices. You can either go down and complete his quest into the Twilight Strand, which has a chance of giving you the Smuggler's Cache, or you can then go through the coast and then through the various parts. That's the wrong button. There it is. Through the coast and then into the mud flats, Kuriku Fortress, a ridge, etc, etc. All of these main points here have a chance to give a Smuggler's Cache. Now when you find the Smuggler's Cache, it'll drop a contract and some rogue markers. You can then come back to, if you wish to, straight back to Access, talk to this lady here who will have an exclamation mark upon her. You talk to her, and then you go to the Rogue Harbour. Get into the Rogue Harbour and you'll have question marks all over the place to speak to Kururi, the administrator, and Faustus maybe, etc, etc. You'll have a contract on you, at least one, and then you can come over to Adia and start your Heist journey. Whether you do Heist in the campaign early level is entirely your choice. You can do Heist. You can go into Heist. You can earn some low level currency, some low level gear. Once you've run your contract, you can come out and then you can continue your leveling campaign, and then You can also buy contracts from Wakano here. You can purchase the contracts from there and run those. There's no guarantee his vendor will refresh at level up, but give it a 2 or 3 levels and you should have a nice stash of contracts for you to buy again. Usually with at low levels, I think it's Alch Orbs or definitely Orbs of Chance, and you'll buy the contracts from him. When you're buying contracts for him, make sure you have the Rogue and you have the Rogue at the right job level, or you can future purchase. Just buy everything and wait for the Rogues to have the corresponding job level to run them. Running the heist in campaign does delay your trip into maps and getting past Act 10 Katava and into maps, but if you're going solely for a heist runner, then that's not going to be too much of an issue. There is still a strategy to not kill Act 10 Katava. Get a carry in the Lord's Lab. That's the last lab for your last 2 ascendancy points. Buy a carry or search for a carry for your friends, community group, or you could hit up TFT or global channels. I'm sure there's a global channel out there for that. Any one of those is an option. Get a carry in the Lord's Lab, get your last 2 ascendancy points, and then you don't have to take the minus 120 res drop, 30 by your 4 elemental reses, and which will make your gearing a lot easier and therefore probably cheaper. You do miss out on the 2 passive points, but you could always come back and kill Act 10 Katava later on. It is an option. I know some people still run that strat. It's up to you what you do. If you're running, it depends on strategy, which we'll get into later on in the video. But you can make a lot of currency running heist during the campaign. You can also get a lot of items running heist during the campaign. Weapons, armor, etc. Uniques will drop in there as well. And then you can also get low-level blueprints from the Smuggler's Cache, which you can run, or alternatively you can buy them from trade and start running your blueprint strat. Entirely your choice. Should you do it? Up to you. There's no solid answer, really. It really depends on personal preference. And with that, let's go on to the next section. Section 3 of the guide, unlocking NPC rogues and the rogues themselves. So, one of the main reasons for potentially doing heist during the campaign is to unlock all of the rogues. So once you get to end game and you're heisting away, you at least have all of the rogues. So when you first enter the rogue harbour, without doing anything at all, you will have 3 NPCs or free NPC rogues, and they are Tibbs, Cast and Isla. So let's have a look at my handy little sheet, which I'll convert into a Google Doc and be available for you. Isla sits down here all by her lonesome self. She doesn't have any unlocks at all. Tibbs will unlock Tulina and Annette. For Tibbs, you want to be running Brute Force or Demolition, preferably Brute Force, because his main pick of being able to unlock a chest after lockdown goes to 2 when he reaches job Brute Force level 5. So you should always run him Brute Force contracts first, just to level him up to level 5. If you never use him for Brute Force ever again, fine. Just use him to unlock his ability. Cast then unlocks Huck, Niles, Vendiri, and the favoured one, Gianna. So, Cast, his main job is lockpicking, but he's also backed up by perception and agility. Again, you should really be trying to unlock his level up his main skill, which is lockpicking first, because then he gets that a bonus ability down a lot. What you need to do is you can run any contract for any job they have. So for Tibbs, you can run Brute Force or Demolition. It doesn't matter. That'll unlock Tulina. Tulina then comes with lockpicking, trap disarmament, and her main one, which is agility. Obviously, use whichever you like. Agility is her main one, so I would suggest doing that. And then you'll get Nanette. Nanette is the main perception rogue. Level 5 is her max. And you can use them to unlock all of the perception stuff in blueprints if you're looking to have perception based blueprints. With cast you run Huck. Now Huck has got only goes to level 3, but he does most skills. He's got lockpicking, brute force, demolition, and there's another one I'm trying to remember. No, I'm gonna have to look at my cheat sheet. Hold on a minute. Lockpicking, brute force, demolition. I'm sure he did another one. I thought he had 4. Oh, wrong screen. Yeah, engineering. There you go. Sorry about that. I can't remember. I can't recall everything all of the time. So there we go. So that's what he has. You can use any one of those to unlock Niles. Niles is your main counter thaumaturgy, and he unlocks 1 chest after the unlock period. He also has the ability to give discounts for reveals. So you could run him, and then you need him to unlock Vendiri. Vendiri is your demolition and trap disarmament level 5, double level 5, the only double level 5 in the game. And you need him to unlock the favoured Gianna. Why do I keep saying favoured Gianna? Because Gianna has the special unlock reveal blueprint chance, the highest reveal blueprint cost reduction skill, and a lot of people use her to run contracts in all of her skills, which is mainly deception. She has level 5 deception. She comes with level 2 perception and level 3 counter thaumaturgy, which is why when we get into gear you'll see why my comments on that. But that's how you all unlock them. It really doesn't matter which skill you use to get the next NPC. As you can see, there is a couple. I've put a couple of notes here. Now this is tinfoil hat theory. I've had it sometimes where NPCs don't unlock. So this is my tinfoil hat notes. To unlock the next XP, you need to run a relevant job type contract for the person at the contract level that will grant you, the character, experience points. It is a tinfoil hat theory, but sometimes if it's a low level contract they don't turn up. Sometimes they do. So if it doesn't turn up on the first one, just check that little rule and then run another one. And for Huck, if you can't get it to unlock on one of his other skills, just use his first in his job list, which I think is brute force. I could be wrong. I'm not sure how his job list type is defaulted when you first unlock him, because I haven't done that for a while. But there you have it. That's how you unlock the rogues, and that's the 2 tinfoil hat theories. If you don't get it on the first contract, you should, but just in case you don't. Let's move on to the next section. Section 4, the most heavily debated part of Heist: rogue gear and the roles on rogue gear. The reason why I say this is heavily debated is because people want specific rogue gear for their strategy, and unless you know what strategy you're running, you don't know what roles on the gear you need, which is why we're here now. You may have noticed a change in character. I've switched over from Affliction League into Standard League, where all of my decent gear is for Heist, just to show you all of the different gear that you can get. I've got quite a bit in my crafting section here that I'm waiting to roll with notes on that for gear that I want. So for the cloak, the highest level cloak you can get is Whisper Woven Cloak. Any other cloak or rogue gear you want, just pick it up. If it's magic or rare, identify it and throw it on. Don't waste your currency. If it's a white one like this one, alch it, and whatever you get, just run with it. There's no point spending your currency until you get the job level 5 items. If you're rolling it for yourself, you need the job level 5 ones. For Huck, you need job level 3 because he maxes out at level 3. So if you're going to use him on the Atlas passive tree in your maps, make sure you get the level 3 rogue gear. For those of you in SSF, make sure that on your filter you have the level 3 items showing at high item level. If you're using a default filter, the stricter you go, they will be removed and you need them on. Otherwise you'll never see the high item level 3 gear for Huck. If you're in Trade League, you can either do the same trick as SSF, or you can just buy the items from trade, or you can buy the full crafted ones from trade. Please note, fully crafted ones with the real good rolls are going to be expensive. Or you can roll them yourself. Up to you. What do I use on my gear? I run a strategy called Open Everything. All of my gear is rolled in accordance with opening as much as possible. I'm not bothered by speed. If I do heist inside the league, I still do the same strat. I will open everything I possibly can. So I am looking for reduced route alert level everywhere, job speed on some, increased job levels on others, and various other roles. What do you want? It depends on your strategy. Possibly skip to the strategy section first and then come back to this one. There's no real way of doing this guide in any particular order, because a lot of stuff revolves around your strategy, but if you put strategy first, people then don't understand what's going on. So it's a little bit awkward to put these sections in a row, but this is what I have decided to do and how I present it to you today. So for me, because I'm opening everything, here is how I have my gear. Again, this is on a spreadsheet. So cast does projectile damage, but you don't need to worry about the damage they do. The weapon / gear slot is always a precise arrowhead. For flask charges, I love increased flask charges. So as you can see down here, on an arrowhead, I go for job speed or increased lockdown before timer. And then on the suffixes, I'm looking for increased flask charges gained with a reduced markers used. How I don't really go for the auras. The reason why I don't go for the auras is because they have such a small area. The rogue has to be right next to you, and if the rogue is right next to you, in my opinion, you're doing something wrong. The only time they should be right next to you is when they're opening a door, at which point they're doing their job, and I've never noticed that the aura stays with you if they're doing their job. And then because they're doing their job, I'm running around like a nutter trying to kill everything to get the XP and possible drops. The mobs don't drop a lot. They do drop rogue gear, and I always have the highest eye level job gear showing so I can roll it and sell it. That's the weapons and gear. Onto the tools, which is the specific rogue type. So for Tibbs, Niles and Huck and Cast, I go for +1 level for all jobs. For Gianna, I go increased lockdown timer and job speed. When she's not running deception, you need job speed. When you are running deception, you do not want job speed. You want plus levels. However, I know people usually want both, so she can run the higher level contracts. Where is the picture? Over on that screen. There we go. So +1 all jobs will raise her perception to 3 and her counter thaumaturgy to 4, giving her more access to high level contracts, which gives more access to high level artifacts, which then gives you more rogue markers whilst running the contract with her to get reveals. And as a note with Gianna should never, ever, 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 ever enter a blueprint. She does nothing, which is why I have Niles with +1 all jobs, because not only does that throw his counter thaumaturgy up to level 6, but it shoves his deception up to level 5, so he can do the level 5 deception jobs in blueprints, which then gives you an unlock chest after lockdown, which, as I stated, my strategy is always to open as much as possible. Your strategy may differ. So that's how I do my tools, and then chance to not generate alert when opening anything, and then reduced markers used. When I get to my cloak, I want increased move speed when not in lockdown, and job speed, and then the suffixes. Wow, sorry about that. Chance to not generate alert, and then reduce alert level when opening. These percentages, by the way, are tier 1. For the brooch, I go for job speed, rogue marker level, and then heist duplicate base currency. That's the gear I roll because that's how I want to do it. Now, couple of notes. If you are not bothered about opening everything, then at all times you should be prioritizing job speed, movement speed, and rogue marker level. That's it. You don't need to worry about anything else. If you are literally running contracts to get rogue markers or reveals, that's all you need. Everything else is irrelevant. You don't need reduced chance to reduce alert. You don't need anything else really. So you're looking at +1 all levels where it can roll, job speed where that can roll, rogue marker level on your folio brooch, because that's how you get your markers from selling the artifact to what's his face, I can't remember his name, I apologise, in the harbour. And then for your arrowhead, you're probably going to want the fast charges, and then potentially you could go for the haste aura. I know a lot of people like that, but again that requires you to be close by to the rogue, and if the rogue, like Gianna has a tendency to throw down a smoke bomb, so she disappears. She will reappear when you get near a door. Sometimes she bugs out, which is very annoying. But yeah, she can disappear like a smoke bomb. She'll just stand there, do a little animation, and she'll disappear. She's still in the contract with you, and she will reappear again when you get near a door that she has to open, or you click on a chest that she needs to open. But at that point, she's technically not there, so you don't get the haste aura. Something to bear in mind. Depending on the strategy you're running depends on what gear you want, and I'll go more into that into the strategies. But this is the gear that I use. There are so many different ways of rolling it. Job speed is blueprint area. So if you take in, for example, in one of the wings you take in Cast, Tibbs and Talina. In another one you take Niles, Nanette and Vendiri. And in another one you take Tibbs, Talina and Vendiri, however you want to do it. Any and all job speed from all of their gear is combined into one total job speed across the entire blueprint, any number of wings. So that's why a lot of people want job speed on all of their gear. I've got a little cheat sheet that you can see on the toolbar just down here. I will be showing a link for that. Hold on, where's my oh, I haven't got, my source has been deleted from my other screen. Dang it, let me just drag it across for a minute. There you go. So this is a cheat sheet that someone did. As far as I know, it's still up to date. It's updated. It says 3.19 there, but nothing in Heist has really changed. I think all of these are still pretty much up to date. Oh, it's still got yeah, it's still got some old leagues on there, so I'll try and find a newer one before I link it. And then down here is what the person who done this cheat sheet, I don't know who it was, I apologies. Credit, I usually give credit where credit's due, but I honestly don't know who did it. They've come up with all the perks and the gear here. and what they think you should get, and the roles down here. I mean, this is the bog standard meta game ones, but again, I'll try and find an updated one. This one's a few leagues out of date now, but I'll try and find an updated one and throw it in the link in on the Google Sheet, which will be linked below. And that's all of the gear, really. As you can see here, I've got a list of all the different gear. If you want to find out what the level 5 ones are called, I never did find out what Huck's called at level 3, but I think it's on that cheat sheet I just showed you. So hopefully that's understanding your rudimentary gear selection. This is what some of the gear looks like. This is your foliate brooch. There's your whisper cloaks. These are your precise arrowheads. And then there you've got the demolition powder, the brute force, Isla's engineering tool, Nanette's perception 1, Gianna's deception 1, and Niles is level 5 counter thaumaturgy. Now I will say, with Vendiri, if you're going to use Vendiri or Gianna, in fact, especially more so for Gianna, you may want to look at getting multiple sets of gear, because as you can see here, when it's specific to the rogue, the implicit is also specific to the job type. So you can see here, this is only for demolition speed. So when you're doing trap level 5 plus trap disarmament for Vendiri, he's going to be slower. So you need another level 5 with trap disarmament. I haven't done that way because I don't use Vendiri, but more on that later. What is my button for my rogues? There it is. So you can see here, this is the kind of gear I've got. Everything's maxed out because this is standard. So that's my cast brooch, my lock pick, my arrowhead, and my cloak for cast. For Vendiri, there's Vendiri's flash powder, his cloak, his arrowhead, and his cloak, flash powder, arrowhead, and brooch. I do have actually got somewhere, there it is, +1 level to jobs, +1 domination, 15% reduced travel fee, and 6% reduced hiring fee. That's full sale in standard because again I don't use Vendiri, but I did get the roll. I alt rolled for +1 all. I auged and got the reduced travel fee, which is not bad. Regaled and hit that +1 demolition, and I was like, you know what, I'm not getting rid of that, so I might as well X-slam it, and got the reduced hiring fee. So that's the kind of thing you want. You want the +1 level of all jobs, +1 type specific to match the item you are using on pretty much all your rogues if you are running a similar strat to me. I'll get off of this one now and go into strategies more in depth, which ties into the gear, which is why it's difficult to separate them, but I'm going to try my best. See you in the next section. And we continue on straight from the rogue gear into sections 5 and 6, which I used to separate, but now I do together because of the way things have changed. These are strategies, contract strategies, and blueprint strategies. There are as many strategies as you can think of for heist as there are for mapping, but the main ones come to how you actually run your contracts, and then how you run your blueprints. So let me just grab a contract. I've got loads of contracts in standards, which is why I've come into standard. Let's just grab one. I don't really care what it is. Oh look, there we go. Let's run a deception. As you can see, everything is white. I run all of them white. I run it because I don't want to spend all of the currency to get the 1 or 2 mods on there that I really would like, such as chance to not generate alert level, and other desirable ones like that, because all of the downsides that you will get outweigh trying to get those desirable ones. So there we go, there she is. Boop. Oh, make sure I've got the right filter on. Yes. No, that's not the right filter. It's that one I want. Thank you. Okay, so we're in the contract now. I'm not actually going to run it at speed. I want to show you the different ones. So I do the kill all, open all. So if I find a mob, I will stand there until it dies rather than run past it. Because I want the loot, I want the XP. They have a chance of dropping the level 5 gear. Even my filter shows level 5 gear because I can sell it. It still goes, not for very much, but you know, everything sells. So there's a little chest there. What I would normally do, which I haven't done because I'm slightly distracted from recording, let's just get back to the... So what I normally do while I'm still in the grace period, I would hit tab and I would use my keys to have a quick look. Go 1 chest, 2 chest, armor chest, not interested, armor chest, not interested, 3, 4, 5, hobby chest, yes please, and then the artifact, and get a good look at the layout of the thing. Hit tab to bring me back, and then I would run the contract and at speed doing whatever I wanted to do. Now, whilst you're in the heist, there are a few strategies that come to mind straight away. One, you've got the dip in and dip out, which is literally you dip in, you run straight for the big orange box, you grab the artifact and you run out. Nothing else matters. You're going in, you're grabbing the artifact, you're coming out. End of story, job done. There's a couple of reasons I don't like doing this. One, you're sacrificing all the potential loot you could get. 2, you will burn through contracts. You will, on a decent heist build, you're moving so fast, you will burn through a contract in about 10-15 seconds. And that means that's like 4 a minute or so, depending on how quickly you get out, get in, throw in the next one, etc. So I would say 2 to 3 a minute is a good example of a real good strat guide for this. But that means that's 2 to 3 a minute. So that's 180 contracts per hour without stopping, if you can keep up the speed. That's a lot of contracts. That means you either have to have a team farming contracts for you and giving them to you, and or you're buying them from trade. That's why I don't like it, because you burn through contracts. I don't know how many people are still sell contracts. Most people will go on to TFT and bulk sell them because it's easier than putting up one or, putting them all on trade and people wanting to buy 1 or 2, or doing buy/seller orders. TFT bulk selling is a lot easier for heist contracts. You can see what you're getting, and people do sell hundreds of contracts. Now, the higher the item level of the contract, the more rogue markers you're going to get. The higher job level the contract requires, the more rogue markers you're going to get. And then you have all the different levels of artifact power, for want of a better term, whether it's high, medium, or priceless. The scale goes up, and that also has an effect on the rogue markers you can get. So that's one strategy. The other strategy is to what I call big chest farming. You are going after the orange box, but you're also looking at the big chests. Now this one only has one big chest, I think. Yeah, I locked out here, so I've only got one big chest, and it's these two down here, the Harby ones. So you run into the contract, you see if they've got any desirable big chests, you go after the big chests, and then you're after the orange box, and you come out. That is a preferred tactic, but you've got to make sure, excuse me, that the contract you're going in has a desirable reward. And any way to know that is to look at your cheat sheet and find out what chests are in that contract type. It's also locked to item level, so if you're buying low level contracts, specifically below eye level 67, I think is the cutoff. Let me just check. Yeah. So, for example, in lockpicking, eye level 68 opens up fragments. So if you don't want fragments and you just want the accessories and currency, don't buy lockpicking contracts above eye level 67. However, if you're buying below eye level 67 lockpicking contracts, you might get more currency, but you'll get less rogue markers from the artifact. So it's a switch off. Brute force is another example. Fossils open up at eye level 34, etc., etc. The list goes on and on and on and on. So you've got that. You've got the big chest opening. You also have the one I do, which is open everything. So like you saw me do, your I've got 4. I forgot the 2 armor big chests up there. Look, they're big chests. Oh, there's another one there as well. So it's got 3 wings. Oh well, never mind. You've also got the open everything, which is where you're looking at your rogue gear. You're looking at your rogue and trying to calculate, okay, what's most desirable. So in this one, I'm not bothered about armor because it won't give me any armor I need. My filter won't show it. I'm in standard. Anything that drops out of these boxes is trash. But it might drop jeweler orbs, orbs of fusing, chrome orbs, and any other currency that is specifically based around armor. So you could get that out of there. So there's a potential you might get some currency out of there. And then you've got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little chests and the 2 Harby chests. So for me, knowing how I've built Gianna's gear, I would be going for the 2 Harby chests, but on the way I'll pick up a few of the small chests, keeping my eye on the ever dangerous alert level. So that's how we're going to do this. We're not going to go particularly fast. This is a Jug RF full of legacy gear. I no longer recommend this build for running Heist, because without the legacy gear that's only available in standard, it doesn't work really. And of course, with the flask changes that are coming up in 3.24, this could also brick my build as well. I hate Executioner. There we go. Boom, boom, boom. Everything dies. My RF is too strong. It may not look like it, but I am keeping it on my alert level. I can see it in the peripheral vision. So I'm aware it's coming up to about 30%. And this is why I have a fire trap. Just take out these big ones. They have they have a higher chance to drop the gear. The rogue gear. That's it, you're gone. Go and get this. Bust open the doors. This is why job speed on Gianna for deception is irrelevant, because she doesn't have a job bar. You didn't see the little timer bar come up on her, which means that having job speed on Gianna, if she's solely running deception, is completely pointless. If you're running counter thaumaturgy and perception, you need, in my opinion, you need another set of gear, because that gear will need job speed. Ooh, GCPs, lovely. Oh, did you see that flash? That's Gianna. She's gone. You might not have seen it because of the massive amount of MTX on my character, but there was a kind of a little flash and she was gone. Now if I go up to this door, there it goes, and it opens, and there she is. But there was no job bar. You didn't see like a little timer bar come up. In a minute I'll do another contract on a different job, and then I'll point out the job bar and you'll see what I mean. I haven't got enough alert level to go back and get any other chests, so I'm just going to grab the artifact, activate my legacy quicksilver flask. If you don't know what legacy means, legacy is the term we use for gear that's only available in permanent league, i.e. standard, and not available in the leagues. So for example, the gear on this character is not available in Affliction League. The only way to get it is to come in standard and buy it from someone who crafted it before the patch. An example of the legacy gear is Quicksilver. Now Quicksilver's maximum movement speed now at tier 1 I believe is 8% increased movement speed. Yeah, there you go, 8% is the max. This is reading as a tier 3 and I have 30%, which is the old legacy Quicksilver, and you can see the same for the increased duration. It's only showing a max of 20% and I've got 31%. You can't make these Quicksilver flasks anymore, so they are limited resource. Once people stop selling them in standard, that's it. But they no longer, that's it, they're gone. Sell that. I just drop all my gear in all of the things. Want to open my stack decks before 3.24, so I may end up spending a lot of time in Heist so I can get the boss drop still. Oh, I've got no water left. There's a little bit in there. So that's the strategy. Now I just want to show you another Heist, in case you're unfamiliar with the bar. It's not that one, not that one. Come on, give me an AG one. There we go. It's only a tier 3, that's fine, it doesn't matter. Tulina, yep. Excuse me, that's dry throat. Now I'm going to quickly run this one. I just want to show you the job timer bar I keep prattling on about, and why it's so irrelevant to Gianna and sorry, not specifically Gianna, deception and agility jobs. Oh, don't worry about that. Stop doing that, Garth. Let's just find a door we can open that needs agility. Oh no, we're not going to get one. Are we? Maybe. No, it's trapped. It's going to be the wire traps. Ugh. Might have to know another one. Right, okay, let me just kill these mobs first, and then I want to point it out. You'll probably already know, those more experienced in Heist will know exactly what I'm talking about. But they still might not know. A lot of people don't realise how bad job speed can be for some of the jobs. I can't do anything about my RF, really. Right, so if I click on this, and you'll see Tillian to go and do the job. So there's no job speed in there. She just jumps all the way through, go and clicks his button. There's no job timer bar there again. Aha, this is what we want. Right, I'm trying to move. Right, click, off she goes. That's the timer bar. Right, that's the timer bar I was talking about. It was up so very briefly there, but that's a job timer bar I keep prattling on about, that little yellow bar. Now, job speed on agility doesn't work. That timer doesn't speed up, and deception doesn't have a timer bar. So if you're running agility or deception, don't roll job speed. It is completely irrelevant, which is why I keep telling people to have 2 sets of gear for Gianna. One for her counter thaumaturgy perception, and then one for her deception. There we go. Right, let's just finish off this contract. I might as well. I need the rogue markers. As you can see, I have got a ton of blueprints to run. Come on. There we go. all of my essences. I do upgrade them. I know you don't get the top ones out of Heist, but they can upgrade. Oh, that's a dread. Nice. Okay, we've got a lot of alert level less, so... Oh, there we go. Oops. Let's just go and pick up as many of these as we can. My filter is vastly out of date. I haven't played a lot of PoE in 3.23 at all. I've been doing other games. Took a bit of a break. I don't want to get that one. I'll set the timer off. And although I've got my Uber Quicksilver flask, I don't want to waste it getting to the box. I'd rather wait and use it to get out. I hate Executioner. I keep thinking I need to press my health potion, but I don't. Life flask, sorry, not health potion. Life flask. Different terminology for different games. Open the safe. Don't forget to open your safes. I have all sorts of things in here. Oh, nice. Here we go, and off we go. Whee! Yes, your beams. Hoorah. Don't care. I run through the beams. This character runs through everything, so I love it so much. Traps on the floor, don't care. Beams, don't care. Counter Thaumaturgic Charm runes on the floor, don't care about those either. Okay, there we go. Just do this and we'll get on to blueprints. With change to blueprints, blueprints used to have different rewards per blueprints. They used to have different tile sets, but GGG changed that. So now all blueprints offer the same rewards. And because of that, there isn't really a specific blueprint to farm. I know a lot of people want 4 wings with divination and currency stacks. That is one strategy. You're going for the best blueprints to get the most out of it. And with the removal of the alternative gems from Heist, you're looking at uniques, orbs, trinkets, and possibly stacks of currency, with maybe getting the high item level enchanted armors and weapons. It's really difficult to get those because you need the right enchantment on the right base. But that is the thing. So strategies for the blueprint is to run it as you find it. Literally, I haven't done anything to this one. Let's find one a bit more favourable. Oh, that'll be good. So you just run it. You would slap it in, and as it is, so this has got 1 ring and 3 rooms, and that's it. That's all it is. It's a bit pathetic, really. You can either come over to oh, what's his face? Wakano, sorry. And then slap it in there, and then activate your Gianna, so she's got a 40% discount. And then boom, boom, boom. Open all the wings, and have a look what you've got. Now, because of the way I am, I would open all of these. Divs, gems, and Harbinger. Because I know with my Deception, that's Niles, I can unlock 1. Counter Thaumaturgy. Oh, I would run... Who would I run for Counter Thorn without Niles? Nanette. I'd run the net for the Counter Thaumaturgy. And then we need someone for Perception, which we could run Cast. So we'd run Cast. Now Cast has reduction for opening chests. So I've got massive alert reduction because of the gear choices and the NPC choices. Plus I can open up one chest after lockdown, and the way these are placed, there's potential to unlock the rooms, kill everything in the rooms. No, sorry, where is it? This one, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Down here I can unlock the rooms, kill everyone inside. There's 4 chests there, so what I could do is go into the room, find the reward, if there is one I wanted, of course. Click on the reward once, come back out, open all 3 chests, don't loot, just open all 4 chests, the alarm will go off, run in, grab the box before the lockdown timer ends, and then come out, pick up the loot from these 2, run through, open the other chest in here because I would have left 1. So that's 5 chests I've opened technically, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 open on the way in. That's how I would do that wing. Same here, we've got currency, div. I'd do the same there with that. I'd open those, plan accordingly. So what have we got? Lockpicking, so that's going to be cast again. Engineering, that's Isla, so she's got massive increased lockdown timer. And deception, which again would be Niles, because you never take Gianna into blueprints. So that's unlocking 1 after lockdown. So I'd be able to get all of those. I'd probably even be able to get the essence one as well. I'd be able to lock all of those. This one for me, I'd go Harby, div. Never unlock escape routes. Not worth it. I wouldn't bother with the fragments either. And this one is another favourite one. Gems, div, and currency. I'd try my best to unlock all of that lot. Much like I explained how I would do this wing here, I would do this one over here as well. So that's how I would do it. That's again, but that is my strategy. Open as much as possible. However, if you're going for most desirable, you're probably looking at currency, divination cards, opening those and getting to the display room. Or alternatively, you've got the rush, which is run in, have a look at the display. Has it got anything? No. Run out. Next wing. And anything in between, really. Like I said, strategies for a heist remain about what you want to do and how you want to do it. Once you've revealed whatever you wanted to reveal, you come down here to the central portion where you do your planning, and then you put your blueprint in, and you'd plan your teams. Now I'm not going to do that because I haven't revealed the rooms yet. That would require a much more thought process on my behalf. But that's it. That's the main strats. There might be more out there, build dependent, or some niche ones where you're just target farming a particular one. I know long ago there was one strat was to only buy lockpicking currency contracts and just open the chests. Didn't worry about the rogue marker, just went in, opened the chests. Did you get a div? Well, Exalted Orb back then when they were the currency of choice. Now it's div orbs. Did you get a drop? No, pick up the currency, come back out and just keep doing that. You wouldn't actually complete the contract. You would just go in, get all the currency you could, come back out, next contract, and then you would bulk sell the currency. More on that strategy later in the video. Whew, the hardest section is out of the way. Let's talk about partnerships for blueprint farming. Now, depending on your strategy, depending on how you want to set up your rogues, you might just want the rogues that'll get the job done and you don't care. Or you might want to min-max your teams to get the best profit out of the blueprint and therefore the team you're using. Popular dream team is Vindiri, Cast and Nanette. Why? Well, Vindiri has a chance to duplicate their contents. This chance goes higher the higher his skill level is. As you can see, because I don't use Vindiri a lot, he's only level 5 and 5. But you can get that to 7 and 6, which means his chance goes up by a lot once you hit 7. The only way to get 7 is to get +1 on all jobs, and then to get +1 on demolition on a flash powder bag like this. And you keep rolling until you get the rolls you want. It take you a long time. It's quite hard to do. Or you can buy one from trade, which means they're going to be expensive. But that's your first port of call. Once you've done that, you enlist the help of Cast with their 40% less raising of alert level. And again, that's only at level 5. You get him plus job levels, and that'll go up. And then Nanette has the next highest, 23% less raising of alert level. She also can scout nearby enemy patrols, which are the ones that can be quite dangerous. And she's at level 6 because I've got +1 to all jobs on Nanette. So she can do level 5 counter Thorm if I'm using Niles to run Deception level 5 in a blueprint. So again, that could even go up a little bit more with having level 7 +1/+1. And that will give you it's something like a 70% chance of raising less alert level against 30% more raising of alert level. So it kind of balances out, and then you gear them appropriately. That's a dream team because you're getting the chance to duplicate with no real downside. Other rogues to mention for blueprints: Tibbs and Niles. Look at Tibbs. Once you get Tibbs to level 5 plus in brute force, you can unlock 2 mechanical chests. It doesn't go up. It's only ever 2. And then Niles has got unlock 1 magical chest. He also has a this as well if he's running a contract. So people prefer to run Gianna because she gets the big discount. It's 30% at level 5 and goes up massively if you get her to level 7. So that's Niles and Tibbs. And then lastly, Isla. Not a lot of people like using Isla, bless her heart, because she's only got trap disarmament and engineering, and historically engineering is really bad as a job type in Heist. But she can run level 5 trap disarmament if you don't want Vindiri in your team or to do the contracts. But she does have a 60% increased time before lockdown at level 7. So we just drop that off to make it level 5, and you can see it's still 50%. Put it back on, she gets an additional 5% per job level, goes up to 60. One last one, Gianna. Never ever 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 never ever ever never never ever take Gianna into a blueprint. It's completely pointless. She does nothing. She brings nothing to the team by having her in a blueprint. It's easier to have her in a blueprint because she has a natural level 5 deception. But it doesn't take that much to get a +1 all jobs on a thaumaturgical ward for Niles. +1 all jobs, bam, level 5 deception. And then he gets that unlocked magical chest as well. So that's the teams. There's not many other concoctions you can do because they all work together really, really well, other than Gianna. Huck's stuck at level 3, 4 if you get the +1 to all jobs on a level 3. I got bored. I went through about 2,000 or 3,000 ults and couldn't get it. It was being really narky. So I just brought one from trade. It's not rolled very well. At some point I'll roll my own, but it'll do. I don't use Huck a lot. Very rarely do I use Huck. The only time I use Huck is when Tibbs is doing a level 5 demolition, and it's a demolition brute force blueprint, and I'll enlist a Huck. Or if it's level 5, then I'll take Tibbs and Isla. No, sorry, I'll deign myself to bring in Vindiri and not open too much. But that's how I do it. So that's all the teams. I'm sure you can come up with your own team combos depending on what's available in the blueprint and depending on gear and job levels. See you in the next section. Hi, in this section we will go through the Atlas passive tree that is now available on the PoEplanner.com. This has only been released in the last 45 minutes when I'm recording this, so I have spent that entire time just looking through it all, trying to get a sense of what I would do if I was running Heist in 3.24. Now, don't get me wrong, I do plan to run Heist. I'm just not league starting Heist. So, and we don't know how anything really works until we get into the league. I'm not an Atlas passive tree expert. This is what I have done after looking at it for, like I said, about 40 minutes. And so I'm going to bring on the one tree I have done, which still allows lots of options, even with the passives I've chosen. Of course, you're free to do whatever you want, but this does hopefully satisfy all of the Heist requirements. So without further ado, I'm rambling. Oh, by the way, welcome to my turtle. There we go. That's the tail. Let's bring on the Atlas passive. I will include a link of this in the Google Doc and hopefully in the description below if I remember. So this is the Atlas passive tree. All of these down here is giving us 68% chance for one monster in each of your maps to drop additional connected map. With Wandering Path gone, that is the best we can get, is 68% chance. It does make our passive tree look a little bit janky. I couldn't get it any other way, and that is that the highest chance I have found. I've looked at all of the new nodes, and this is the highest chance you can actually get, with Scarab chance taking over all of the other nodes. We are blocking every single content. However, by blocking the content, you also can't get the scarabs of that content, which I think is a good thing. So we've blocked all of these here. We've blocked all of these here. We are just literally having Heist open only. We've taken all of these ones here for Secret Stash to give us all the chances there. We've taken the Shaping of the Skies for the extra map tier chance higher. And we've taken Shaping the Mountains for the same reason. We've come over here to get these Heist nodes. Huck is up to you, whether you want him or not. It's just an additional node. And then we've come up through here, down to here to get more map chance nodes. Down through here, this is mainly to get the higher tier chance. Again, higher tier chance. Shaping the World, higher tier chance. Plus, if you're going to go and kill the final map boss, then you have the chance of getting an additional map as well. We've also got bold undertakings, which completely can be ignored. You can take this one, or alternatively you could take overloaded circuits. The only reason to take one of those two is to get through here for the higher map chance. Alternatively, you could drop these in both entirety and take back to basics if you so wish. You come up through here, get all this extra map chance, which I'm a bit strange because you get these as well, and I get those as well down there. Up through here to get our usual finer arts for the deception. Agility can be quite good for the highest rewards, but mainly to try and get those deception contracts. We've come back through here, smuggler's chance. Level 5, at the beginning you might want to go to level 3 and then level 4, and then as your rogues level up switch to level 5, but that is a lot of janking around. The reason to do that is the higher job level, the more rogue markers you get from the artifact. Speaking of which, we then do take friends in high places. Up round here for more quant, and then we get the double casting the joint and no honour amongst thieves. I've also gone up here, this is completely up to you of course, up here to get scarabs, to get the increased chance for haunted monsters in your maps to drop embers of the all flame. From the Q&A session, etc., embers of the all flame look really good, so I've whacked it on there again, but you could take that off if you so choose. You could also then come up for Eternal Torment, or you could come over the other side as well and get the where is it? Hold on, I've lost it. Over here, that's it. You could get condensed souls. I mean, it's just coming up here, more scarab chance, more scarab chance, scarab chance, map modifier effect, and get that one. There's some more down here as well for Fear of the Light for Necropolis, and there's another node set down here. It does put you close to pretty much every single mechanic in the game. So if you wanted to spend your last points on other mechanics, then you can do so by, you know, manipulating how you wish and then just clicking off whichever mechanics you want to see. This here, you can drop the 1, 2, 3, 4 points and come through here for 1, 2, 3, 4. For 1 additional points, you can come around this side for the correct mission chance and get expect the unexpected. Or alternatively, you could come around here to get scouting report chance and get expert reconnaissance as well. Again, your choice. There are so many options with this passive tree. Also, of course, you could just use this one for heist and knock it out to the barest minimum using it as a map leveling heist tree. And then because we've got the option of other Atlas passive trees being live, you could then just swap and then do your end game setup in a brand new Atlas passive once you've unlocked that. We don't have any information at the time of recording of how you unlock these new Atlas passive trees, but I'm hopeful it'll be relatively easy. The thought process at the moment is probably 2 watchstones, you'll unlock one, and then maybe 4 watchstones and completing the Maven quest line, you'll get the other one, or it might be locked into doing certain bosses. We just don't know yet. At the time I recorded this, I did have a quick check on the patch notes and it wasn't mentioned, so hopefully we'll get that confirmed in the next few days. As for actual all your modifiers, you can see here 68% chance for 1 month on your maps to drop an additional chance, 5% quant, 2% increased effect on modifiers on your map. Map bosses have an additional 5 chance, no expedition, no ritual, 24% increased heist contracts found in your maps, 24% increased blueprints. Your maps that contain smugglers have a 30% chance to gain an additional smugglers. Heist contracts found in your maps are 100% more likely to have level 5. 10% maps to contain blueprints. Lots of high stuff. Smugglers caches drop 10% more rogue markers. Maps contain have 5% chance to contain 6 additional. Maps have 40% chance to contain. That's the highest we can get because, again, we don't have wandering path. So I'm hoping with the way this is set up now, where it is, and you're getting all that scarab chance, you can invest in more scarab chance as well. There's plenty of nodes all over the place for scarab mop chance, and there's some nodes as well. Just grab a drink. You could pick up, you could get hopefully more and more scarabs from killing the small amount of mobs you might want to kill on your way to getting the heist caches, to try and get more scarabs to then proc the heist, etc. And it goes on and on. There's lots more heist there. No harvest, no delirium, no blight, no legion, no abyss, no breach, no bleach. Wow. No ultimatum. And then you've got all the mesks there. 10% chance to get a free map crafting option if you complete the map. 3% chance to complete your maps to get a free user special. And there's all your 10-5. I'm assuming these stack like they have done in previous versions. So we've got 5 there, 15 and 10, 15. There's 30% chance to get a higher map. Plus we get extra content there and more scarabs. So that's how I've done it. Again, it's completely up to yours. This is just a basic quick cutout that I managed to do in the last 40 odd minutes. Hope you enjoy this section. Let's move on to the next one. In this section we're going to go over the DPS build recommendations and gearing and suggestions for heist, both contract and blue point farming. It honestly doesn't matter what ascendancy you choose. Go at your own pace and do what you want to do. The main 3 aspects of a build for heist is speed, non-flask ailment immunity, excluding Pathfinder, life/defenses so you don't die. Evasion is generally better than armor when running Heist. Couple of bits of gear for you on the boots. I would heavily recommend Gurrican's Flight at Zeri Step for uniques, or a well crafted rare boots with at least 30% movement speed. Additionally, if your currency allows, 30% movement speed with tailwind. That's the boot slot. For your helm, you've got two choices. You could go Devoto's Devotion with the additional 20% movement speed, or like on this build, you could go for a Devouring Diadem, which means you're never having to worry about armor. So the energy shield you have, whatever you have, is then used to cast your abilities, and you just chunk your life up like I have done here. Outside of that, build wise, most Heist builds tend to be the Rangers, whether that's Raider or Pathfinder are the two most common. There is an outlying chance for Deadeye, but then that uses the jewels to pick up ascendancy points from one of the other classes, generally either the phasing or the elemental ailment immunity from Raider. Skill wise, Toxic Rain with Toxic Rain Totem, Toxic Rain Totem with Caustic Arrow is one of the most common builds used, because it has a budget of whatever you pick up off the floor and can be run on 2 5-links, bow and chest. It doesn't require any gear. The more investment you put into the build, the better it's going to be, but you can do it in all rares and 2 5-links. After that, it's just upgrading with whatever currency you find or you feel comfortable doing, depending on your overall league strategy. For Pathfinders, the most common skill used is Poison Concoction, and then with all the flask shenanigans, and then sometimes you may pick up phasing from the Raider Ascendancy. Deadeyes tend to be used as artillery ballista builds with Lightning Arrow. Alternatively, any ascendancy with a non-spell totem elemental build will work. Try to not stick to one element, because there are a lot of mobs in Heist that have an elemental resistance and you could become stuck. Other builds I have used in Heist are Occultist Death's Oath. It moves slower, but with the Death's Oath it kills all the mobs, so you're not too worried about survivability because things die before they get to you. Alternatively, I have done Righteous Fire in the past. It is extremely slow because it's a juggernaut, but you don't die. You can run through all of the traps and kill a lot of the mobs. I know it's received some nerfs. I've never tested Chieftain RF in Heist. If you want to check out our RF build, I heavily suggest going over to Pox, checking out his guides and using the advice I give here, or your own creativity to create one suitable for Heist based on the prerequisites I've given earlier in this section. Anything else is build dependent. I would suggest having a 4-link phase run, which means having phase run, life tap, increased duration and efficacy. If you're using any sort of EB, like I am using via the diadem, you drop life tap and take a level 3 enhance. You could drop life tap anyway and just have enhance. It does give better results, speedier results, but you then are reliant on having mana to constantly upkeep your phase run unless you are EB. Outside of that, the build on screen I have gone through in previous section, but I forgot to include the movement speed modifier, which we're going to do now. I've only got 168% base, but I am only level 82. I'm missing a lot of passive points, and my gearing is not min-maxed as well as it could be, because I did not enjoy the Affliction League and the gear was outside of my price range. So with that in mind, if I activate phase run, you can see we go up to 215, and that is permanent as long as I remember to keep pressing the phase run buff. As soon as it runs out, you can click it again, which is why we used increased duration and efficacy. We've also got duration for this particular build. We've got duration on the tree as well. That's a solid 215%. Now we activate our flask, which gives us 261 movement speed, phase run and flask. That's going to go up to about 300 on this build once I've finished tinkering with it. 300 to 400 is quite a nice speed. After that, in my opinion, it gets a little bit hard to control. I know people out there prefer a lot faster builds, but the faster you go, the more output currency you're spending on getting contracts and PPs. But again, it's personal choice. With that said, in the next section, I'll be going over zDPS builds. So, let's get into that. In this section, we will focus on zDPS or zero DPS heist builds. I don't have one to showcase because I don't believe in them. I know they exist, I fully understand why people do it, however, it's not something or playstyle that I thoroughly enjoy. If you have not done heist before, do not do a zDPS heist build as your league start. It will not end well. zDPS heist build require a lot of player skill and a lot of innate knowledge of how blueprints and contracts work. The reason I say this is because over the past couple of leagues, zDPS builds have become popular in heist from a couple of content creators, but people pick them up, try them out, and then come into the TFT Heist channel and ask for advice on a zDPS build, not realizing that it's just not about the build, it's also about the exact gear choice, skill choice, player skill, and the interactivity of your rogues in heist. With that in mind, in order to run a zDPS build, firstly you've got to find a real good one. It's got to have crowd control, it's got to have a lot of speed, and a lot of skills that, you know, don't do damage. I would heavily suggest taking a falling damage skill just in case you run into issues. The other thing you need for a zDPS build in heist is to have all of your rogues at level 5. You also need to have all of the gear min-maxed. Ideally, every single one of your rogues needs to have job speed, and every single one of your rogues needs a double +1 item, so it puts their main skill up to rank 7, pushing the job speed even further. The most common complaint, for want of a better term, in the heist channel for TFT for zDPS builds is people die when they get to a door. This is because the rogues, generally the rogues job speed isn't min-maxed and they take too long to open the door, then they get hit, which comes down to player skill, not being able to control the mobs, and then the rogue getting hit, getting interrupted, and then the player dies as more and more mobs wash in. I do not recommend zDPS builds. I think they are a mistake unless you have run one before. If you are very interested in a zDPS build, I would suggest doing your league as per normally would. If you want to try out Heist in 3.24, start off with a normal build, like I've suggested, one of the ones I've suggested in the previous thing, and then once your league is over, like you get into the last couple of weeks, you're thinking, oh, I'm pretty much done with this league, I just want to mess around with my currency. Then look around for a zDPS build, spend your currency, put the build together, make sure you've got the gear for your rogues, and then play it. Don't rely on it if you've not done it before. Test it when your 3.24 league is over. Practice, 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 and then you could do it for the next league. Personally, I do not think anyone should be running zDPS builds. It's a lot of play skill. It's a heavily invested build, and if you get it wrong, you will die and you will lose the currency spent on the blueprint or contract. zDPS builds are usually only used in blueprints. They're usually rolled perfectly, and then they are usually split / copied / fractured to get the most currency out of that blueprint, and then the blueprint is run. That's how I've seen people do it. That's how I believe it works. Don't do it. Honestly, it's a lot easier to stay away unless you are experienced in running zDPS builds, or like I said, you pick it up at the end of the league when you're pretty much done with the league and you've got a ton of currency and you want to invest and see what all the fuss is about. And at that point you can see how it all works, and you can put your own leveling PoB together for the next league. And with that, let's move on to the next section. And lastly, in this section we are covering the most profitable way of doing Heist. This question gets asked a lot, mainly in the Heist channel of TFT, but it does get asked a lot, and I do get several messages on various mediums bombarding me with divines per hour, chaos per hour, how do I make more profit, There are two answers to the question. What is the most profitable way? And it depends on how you want to do it. The first one is 1. What is the most profitable way to heist? Don't. You build a magic find character, you hit maps, you take all of the heist nodes on for your Atlas strat, and because you're then just picking up the stash boxes on the way through your map, you then sell everything. You sell all your road markers in bulk, you sell all your contracts in bulk, you sell all your blueprints in bulk. You don't look at them, you just throw them in a dump tab, and then keep them on the trade website. And then if you want to engage with TFT, you can count up what job types you've got, and then just throw them at the bulk. They'll go eventually, or you'll end up with a ton of contracts at the end of the league, and it'll sit in and rot in a remove only tab in standard. That's the first option. 2. The other option is to hit Heist, do an open everything strat. You do not have any of your tabs open. So as you can see here, I've got all of my tabs. This is standard, by the way. Got all my tabs open here for sale. You don't have any of those up while you're running your heist. You just keep them closed. You can set them up and just take them off public. So what you do, you go in here, you go to your tab, you take that, you click it off. Boom. It's no longer registering on the API. It's no longer on the trade network. It'll sit there. Once you finish your run, for example, let's take a normal day for me. As many of the OG followers will know, I am medically retired. My government has stated I'm too ill to work, so I'm on state funds. So my day for me is I wake up, I do some chores, have a shower, food, etc, etc. Then I sit down, and if it's PoE day, I'll sit and I'll play PoE. So what I would do if I was running a high strat in League, I would sit down for 3 or 4 hours, I would turn off all my tabs, I would heist for 3 or 4 hours, I'd dump everything into tabs, in the relevant tabs, using the in the tab affinities, and then once I'm having my evening meal, I would sit in front of my desk and turn on all my tabs. I'd have all of my gear tabs like this open, so I just just click, that's done. I'd already have it all set up. Like now I've got a D&D message on because I'm recording and I don't want trades coming in, so I just go D&D sorting dump tabs. So you could then put them up, you could price them all up, people would whisper you for an item and they'd get the message D&D sorting dump tabs. So they might hang around, they might not. You'd then have your currency tab. I've got 2 for this very purpose, and you'd set them up to sell, and you can right click to not index. So you could right click here, you put negotiable price, exact price, or do not index. This is how I do my craft tabs. All of these are do not index. So as you can see here, it's got skip, remove the res, resistance, question mark. So this is a really good bow for a build I'm working on, but it's got that 12 cold resist and I need to get it shot. And I'm not sure how to do that, so I've got to speak to a crafter on how to do it, see if this is even salvageable. If not, I'll start again. But all of this tab, although it's open here and it's noted craft, each item individually priced, tick, so that's on, and then I can right click here, do not index, bam, and then I just put V, which is vendor, enter, and there it is, skip V. That means I'm waiting for 2 more of these and I'll vendor them to see if I can get a better result. So that's what you do. So any currency, if you've only got one currency tab, you can just literally right click, make it public, up here, right click, make the tab public, yes, right click anything you don't want to index, or if you've got to, there's a stash tab coming up, stale coming up in a couple of weeks time. You can buy one quite cheap, do another one, and then you just put on your price for your bulk currency tabs, and then when you're ready to go, you just take off your D&D by hitting enter /D&D. It'll remove the D&D. What you would then need to do is jump out your hideout into a town, doesn't matter which one, jump back into your hideout. That will reset the API, and then the trade website API will start scanning your stash tabs, and everything you have for sale will appear on the market for people to buy. If you want to use TFT, this is the point where you'll also start bulk selling on TFT. Your contract, any spare contracts you don't want, rogue markers, if you're running that strat, where you just literally run into contracts, you get the rogue markers, and then you bulk sell them. That's it. That's the whole strat. So yeah, that is the 2 most profitable ways to run it. You literally sell everything you pull out of Heist. You don't use any of it, in which case you're usually using a low budget build on 5 links, because you don't need a 6 link for Heist. Never needed a 6 link for Heist, really. You're using 5 links and generally trash gear, just enough to cap your resists, maybe element immunity, or you're using purity of elements for cheapness, or flasks for your element immunity, whatever. You're using a cheap build, the cheapest build you can get away with, so you can maximize your profit and currency in that first couple of weeks. After that, you should be sitting on quite a lot of currency. What you also do before you log off for the day is you convert whatever currency you have got into chaos by doing bulk currency sales. Then you sell your currency, your chaos, for divines, and then you buy mirrors. And that's how people in the past have made multiple mirrors in the first few days by doing Heist. Because people will get a mirror and they want to make a quick sale. So they will sell mirror or mirror shards or mirror cards. Say for hand hunters and mage blood cards, they go quite nicely. And you buy them all up if you have the currency. Or you just transfer the currency from chaos to divines to mirrors. In a couple of weeks you'll have so much currency you can probably build whatever you want. Or down the MF route you do the same. You MF in for your time, your MF on the cheapest MF build you can find. You're probably using 4 or 5 portals per map, but you know you're pulling out so much currency and gear. And again, you do the same. You don't put anything up, you just dump it on a stash tab, and when you're finished, when you've got an hour or 2 at the end of the day, or you know when you're finished playing PoE, put it all up, put your bulk sales up, get it shot. Don't let don't let stuff sit in your tabs. Once it gets to a certain point, I mean, I haven't played a lot because this usually rotates on a fairly regular basis. If you get a tab full, or about half full, if you've got quad tabs like this, you've got about half full of quad tab. Let's see if I can find one. There you go, this one. If your dump tab ends up like this, it's time to reduce it. So all you would then do is you would change this. In my circumstances, this would go down to 3 divines, this would go down to 2, 1, 160 chaos, 80 chaos, 40 chaos, and anything in the 40 chaos tab just gets vendored. Doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter how good you think it is. If it's in a tab and you've got, say you've got 5 quad tabs or whatever, if it's time to rotate, you rotate, and anything in the lowest level tab just gets vendored. Don't keep it, vendor it. Doesn't matter what you think it is. If it's not sold, nobody wants it. Vendor it, put your new tab up to your selling mark, and you've got a brand new empty dump tab ready for the next run, and then you've vended a load of stuff which will give you back currency which you can bulk sell the next time you do your bulk sell. So that is the way you make profit in Heist. 2 very profitable ways. Whichever one you want to do, that's fine. All of the other strats covered in the Heist strategies are equally viable. It just takes a little bit more investment because you're worrying about rogue gear. The 2 strats I've mentioned, rogue gear just makes the Heist dump character more profitable. The MF character doesn't even enter the harbour. Never ever enters the rogue harbour. You'll get green contracts. You might get a green contract. Just leave it on the floor. Don't pick it up. Never ever go to the rogue marker if you don't want to do Heist, because that'll start the green contracts dropping, and at the moment you can't completely hide them from the filter. You can change how they look to become, almost transparent, but it'll still be there. So if you're going down the MF/non-Heist running, you just want to bulk sell everything, never ever enter the rogue harbour. And that's a profitable stage done. Outro next. End of the video in the next part. And that's the end of the 3.24 complete Heist guide. If you have any questions or queries, please hit up in the comments. But please be aware that this is recorded before the 3.24 league launch. And if you have any comments, concerns and questions about why I'm not including anything that is specific to something that has occurred after the league launch, please hit us up in the TFT Heist channel. I say us because the Heist is a community. A lot of knowledge I have has been gained from the community, and I include it in this video to help everyone else. You may be an experienced player that just needs a bit of a brush up, or you may be a player that's never done Heist before and are looking to get into the content to see what all the fuss is about. Either or, I hope your Heist journey is a really good one, and if you want any advice, etc., like I said, hit up my comments here, or come join us in the Heist TFT channel, or pop over me a whisper on Discord. Garth412 everywhere. Have a great season journey within the league, and may the profits rain down on you.